Hey everybody, welcome back to Quaint Town with your host Mayor Quaint, and I've got my lovely wife here with me, Mrs. Quaint.
Hi guys.
Hey, alright. So today we're going to be opening up a starter deck. This is one from Into the Inklands. There are two starter decks, but this one in particular is the Amber and Emerald.
It's kind of a good way to say it though.
This is the Amerald deck. So this one looks like it's going to have Peter Pan and maybe Pongo in there, so we're excited to crack this open. I want to show you guys what to expect when you open up this starter deck. Every single time you open this starter deck, it's going to come with the exact same cards, but then included with that is the booster pack, which may have some random cards in there that you might be able to use in this deck, so that's going to be fun. And inside this starter deck, you're going to be getting that deck with 60 cards, including 2 foils, 11 damage counters, a paper playmat, 1 paper tracker token, and a booklet of game rules, so that'll help you get started. If this is your first introduction to Lorcana, a deck like this is going to be fabulous because it's going to give you pretty much everything you need to get started. Like I said, you're going to get a booster pack in there so that you can get some additional cards, and that's great for newbies and beginners who just want to get started with this and maybe play with the family and friends. Alright, so let's crack her open and show you all what to expect. Alright. So cracking into this, we've got our starter deck there. I'm going to leave this up here so we can remember which starter deck we're opening. Got our booster pack, set that off to the side to the end. Got our quick start rules, going to go over everything you need, and got some of our lore counters, and we've got that, I like to call this a lore map. Can track your lore all the way to 20. It's not necessarily a full-on playing field because you can't open this up at all. So it's more like guidelines. You're gonna punch out these damage counters so that you can put these on your character whenever they've taken damage to remind yourself and remind your opponent of how much damage is on your characters. And this guy's kind of cool because it's got that cutout in the center. So as you're moving yourself up the lore counter there, you're going to be able to see where exactly you're at. Alright, let's crack into the deck and show you what to expect. Pongo right on the very front there. It's one of your 2 cold foils that's guaranteed. I love the sound of the plastic.
I do appreciate that they've moved to paper these days though.
Alright, right out the gate we've got Pongo. This is Pongo Determined Father. He says, once per turn you may pay 2 ink to reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a character card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of your deck. So that can be useful in a character deck because a lot of the cards that are going to be in your deck are going to be characters. Unfortunately, though, if you do happen to come across a card that you really need that's not a character, it's going to go on the bottom of your deck, so you're going to miss out on that. He is 3 ink and inkable. For a 3/2, that's not bad. Next card in this deck, we've got Peter Pan. This is Lost Boy Leader. Cost 4 is inkable, and it is a 3/3, so he's got 3 strength and 3 willpower. He says once per turn, when this character moves to a location, gain lore equal to that location's lore. So that can be helpful just to help you get to that 20 mark. Alright, the next card in this deck, we've got Dalmatian Puppy, Tail Wagger. You may have 99 copies of Dalmatian Puppy Tail Wagger in your deck. I know there are some decks that kind of synergize with that card right there.
They go crazy with it. I've heard tail.
And it looks like they went ahead and just put all 5 versions of that card in here just to show you can have more than 4 of this card. You can have up to 99 copies. Next card we've got here is Kita. I love how they have the Atlantean language down here. 1 ink for a 2/2, quest for 1. No abilities on Kita there. And we do have 3 of them in the deck. Next is one of my favorite cards. I do love a Lucky. Lucky is 4 ink and uninkable, but he doesn't have a fabulous ability. It's a 2/3 quest for 1, but his ability says, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may put each character card with cost 2 or less into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And he also has an ability, Puppy Love. When this character quests, if you have 4 or more other characters in play, your other characters get +1 lore this turn. So kind of synergizing with Pongo there and his ability where you can start putting lots of characters in your hand and eventually on the field. you can start getting a ton of lore and a ton of characters in play. Next here, we've got Nani, Protective Sister.
Oh yes,
This one's...
I have her in one of my decks. What's the deck I use her in? What do we call it? Is that my hero deck?
The deck you use her in, it's kind of... Yeah, it's your hero deck.
That's my hero deck.
She's very helpful because she is a bodyguard, which means when you play her, you can play her exerted.
And
She's got 6 willpower, costs 5, is inkable, and when she is exerted as a bodyguard, anytime your opponent can challenge her, they must challenge her. Next card in this set here, we've got Patch. You can exert him. Chosen character gets -2 strength until the start of your next turn. So if you've got a character, or your opponent has a character on the field that you want to get their strength down so that they can't challenge your characters for a ton of damage, Patch is going to be pretty useful. Next here we've got another bodyguard.
It's one of my favorite cards now in my latest deck that Mayor Quaint built for me.
I think this is one of the stronger bodyguards. Pluto here can shift for 5, so if you're playing with the 1-cost Pluto, you can potentially get him on the field turn 4. The other 1-cost Pluto, when you exert him, you pay 1 less for the next character you play, and with shift 5, that would be dropped down to 4 ink, so you can get him on the field very quickly. What's great about him is not only is he bodyguard, but at the start of your turn you remove up to 3 damage from this character, so if your opponent can't take him out quick, he's just going to heal himself. This card in particular, we actually have in Mrs. Quaint's Pridelands deck. I use this as one of the characters that I discard, and then Pridelands is a location where you can banish it if you have 3 or more characters there to bring a character from the discard into play. I use this guy because he's going to end up protecting everybody on the field with that bodyguard ability, and he's going to be really difficult to take out. So I use him in other decks as well. In the Pridelands deck, if you're using the Pridelands ability, you don't have to use ink to play something from your discard. So the fact that he costs 7 isn't necessarily a drawback. It's the abilities on the card that you're focusing on. Just like I was talking before, if you're using the 1-cost Pluto, this guy right here, exert him to pay 1 less for the next character you play, so these 2 cards will synergize well together. You can play him first turn, can help to get other characters in play quick, and then 4th turn you can use his ability to shift him for 4 and get him on the field really quick. So, Pluto Friendly Pooch, great synergy with Pluto Determined Defender. Those 2 together, kind of combo if you ask me. And we are rocking 3 of those in this deck. I do like playing with 4, but I've noticed that sometimes having 4 Pluto Friendly Pooch in your deck can be kind of a drawback because mid to late game when you're drawing him, it doesn't really add a whole lot to the canvas when you put him down.
Also, he's non-inkable, so that could also get you in trouble if you are depending on maybe your next draw being inkable, and then all of a sudden Pluto shows up again. And
this is true.
no help. I've been there, done that.
Having too many uninkable cards in your deck can definitely be a big drawback. Next up we've got Raleigh, Hungry Pup. This is a character with support, so whenever you quest with him, you can take his strength and give it to another character that you have in play, and then they can challenge one of your opponent's characters with a little extra strength behind their hit.
A lot of Dalmatians in the Inklands set.
I do like the theme of this one with Peter Pan and the Dalmatians. I love it when they continue to put, themed decks together. Those are really fun to play. And speaking of theming, if you haven't seen my video on some of the game changers that are coming out in Azurite Sea, please check that out. I show off some of the cards that I feel are going to be pretty powerful in that set, and I show off some of the cards that have been in previous sets that are themed to make them even stronger. For instance, we've got some pirates coming out, got some pirate themes that I talk about, and we also have some Sugar Rush Speedway cards from Wreck-It Ralph. Very great theming there. Cards synergize really well together. And even cards from the Lion King, such as Pridelands from previous set, going to be synergizing really well with the new Simba Pride Protector. So check out that video if you haven't seen it already, and let me know what you think. And we will definitely link that in the description of this video. Next card we've got here, we've got Tinkerbell. This is Generous Fairy. When you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character card and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Very similar to Lucky's ability there. You're just searching through your deck to try and find as many characters as you can so that you can put as many as you can on the field. Another thing to take into consideration, though, she is non-inkable. So remember, the more non-inkable cards you have in your deck, the less options you're going to have for playing ink. So keep that in mind. Next card we have here is Windy Darling, 2 for an inkable, 1/3 quests for 2 lore. I do like... She is in your hero deck, yeah. I do like low cost characters that lore for a lot, especially when they have a little bit of extra willpower there. A lot of the ones that have high lore value usually have low willpower, so it's difficult to rack up a lot of lore with them before they're taken out in challenges. So that 3 is going to be just a little bit more tough and difficult for your opponent to take out via challenges.
Nice 2 lore in that early game, though.
Definitely, almost guaranteed 2 lore in early game. Maybe even if you get a chance to challenge, or if you get a chance to quest with her more than once, you're putting a lot of lore on the board for a very low investment.
Right, and she's gotten away. I mean, honestly, you haven't hit her a couple of times just because she had just enough where it wouldn't have really mattered.
Right.
She's just tough enough.
That 3 willpower makes her difficult. A lot of characters early game are going to have 1 to 2 strength, which means challenging her is going to take usually more than 1 character.
And she's inkable. Bonus.
The next card we have here is Neverland. This is a location, costs 1 ink to play, but it is inkable. It does have low willpower, so it can be taken out pretty quick, but it does gain you 1 lore at the beginning of every turn. So first turn, great card to drop. You're going to have a location to kind of shift your characters off to, and you're going to start bringing in that lore before they can take it out. It looks like we are rolling with 2 of those in this deck. Next card we have here is Cubby.
Oh, Cubby.
This is 4 ink, inkable for a 3/5. Not too bad. When this character moves to a location, he gets +3 strength for the turn. So
That's
if you've got Neverland on the board, you can move Cubby to that location, gain an extra 3 strength, and then challenge one of your opponent's characters for 6.
So Cubby and Neverland, pretty good.
Those 2 cards are going to work well together.
Yeah.
Next card we have here is Dawn Carnage. I love me a Dawn Carnage. This is Prince of Pirates. He is evasive. You've got a 4/4 for 2 ink. Evasive characters can only be challenged by your opponent's characters who also have evasive, so he's going to be difficult to take off of the canvas there. Costs 5, a bit of a high ink cost, but for a 4/4, that sounds about right.
Worth it mid-game for sure.
So we've got 2 Dawn Carnage in there. Next we have 2 Flotsam.
Ooh.
This guy is 3 ink, inkable, for a 5/2, so he's going to deal a lot of damage, but he doesn't have a whole lot of willpower.
Yeah.
So he's going to end up getting taken out pretty quick if you're questing with him, but he can take one of your opponent's characters out that's got a lot of willpower pretty easily.
Don't the Flotsam and Jetsams kind of synergize with each other?
The Flotsam and Jetsams do synergize. This one actually says characters named Jetsam get an additional 3 strength. So having both of them on the field at the same time is going to be very helpful. So you're going to be using a lot of these cards that we mentioned before to kind of search through your deck, and if you can get a Flotsam and a Jetsam in play using those cards, it's going to be helpful. Next here, we've got Helga Sinclair, Vengeful Partner. When this character is challenged and banished, banish the challenging character. So she's going to be one of those characters where your opponent has to think twice before challenging her, because they're going to be losing their character in the challenge regardless of their strength or toughness.
She's definitely the bait you put out on the field.
So yeah, good to play second turn because you're going to want to quest with her every turn, just kind of baiting your opponent to challenge her and take her out so that they can lose some of their advantage on the field. Next up here, we've got Horus. Got another 3 ink, inkable for 4/3, quest for 1. So high power, pretty standard toughness there for a decent cost. Next here we have Jasper, Common Crook. Whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character can't quest during their next turn. So you're probably going to want to quest with him every turn to slow down your opponent's ability to gain lore. So that can be helpful, especially early game when you're trying to hit that 20 mark before your opponent. And we were talking about Flotsam and Jetsam earlier. Here's your Jetsam. This character has Ward, which means your opponent can't choose this character except to challenge. So they'll be able to challenge Jetsam here, but they will not be able to, use songs or items or any other abilities of their characters to target this character. This also says your character's name Flotsam Game Ward. So again, those cards are going to be synergizing if you can get them both on the board at the same time. Next card we have is Kit Cloud Kicker. Tough guy.
It's a fun name.
3 ink for an inkable 2/2, quests for 1. When you play this character, you may return chosen opposing character with 2 strength or less to their player's hand. So, helpful character to drop even mid to late game if they've got a powerful character on the canvas that has 0, 1, or 2 strength. You're going to be able to pop them right back into their hand and then maybe gain some board advantage. Next up, we've got Robin Hood. So this one's, the fact that he can lore for 4 is phenomenal. Doesn't have any abilities, but that is a lot of lore.
And he's fairly tough too, so...
Yep, a 4/5 for 6 ink and inkable, so if you get him in your opening hand and you won't be able to play him for a while, you can drop him as ink.
For sure.
But that is going to be helpful, especially mid to late game. When you are just shy of the 20 mark, you can start racking up the lore really quick with him.
Is he Robin Hood? What's his name?
It's Robin Hood Daydreamer.
Okay.
Next up, we've got Starkey. I kind of like Robin Hood a little bit better, but this guy is a 6/6. Quest for 3 lore. But that's a hefty cost. 7 ink. He is inkable, so I can imagine this guy hitting your ink stack a lot as opposed to playing him. But, mid to late game, if you've got 7 ink and it's the only card in your hand, you're going to want to drop him.
I'm pretty sure he's in one of my decks, and I don't think I've ever really played him. He's one of my ink guys.
Yeah. With that hefty cost, it can be kind of difficult to put him on the field.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Wildcat Mechanic. Another evasive character, 3 ink inkable, quest for 1, he's a 2/3. What's nice about him is he's got this ability where you can just exert him to banish chosen items. So you've got a pesky item in play your opponent is kind of taken advantage of, get rid of that. We've got a Hypnotize here, each opponent chooses and discards a card, draw a card. So definitely helpful if you're playing a multiplayer game with more than one opponent, but regardless, you're forcing your opponent to discard a card and you get to draw a card for 3 ink. Not bad. You could be getting rid of something that's going to be pretty essential for their strategy. Next, we've got Improvise. For 1 ink, you can give chosen character +1 strength this turn and draw a card. Always love cards that let you draw. Kind of replenish your hand while putting a couple battle tricks out there before you challenge. So that can be helpful. We got 3 of those in this deck. We've got another card here that is another action. This is also a song. You can draw 2 cards and then choose and discard a card. So you've got for 2 ink inkable, you can sing this with one of your characters that costs 2 ink or more, and it can potentially help you to search through a couple cards off the top of your deck to find something useful to play. We're getting down to the last few here. We've got DeVille Manor. This is another location. It's DeVille Manor Cruella's estate. Also only costs 1. Also has 4 willpower, but it only costs 1 to move a character here. Again, that's going to be helpful with characters like Cubby, and it does get you 1 lore at the beginning of every turn.
Not a bad location. I think I've got a few of those in whatever Ember.
Not too shabby, especially when you've got
deck
decks that require you to move a character to a location to gain their ability. So having some low-cost locations, especially ones that get you lore at the beginning of every turn, is going to be helpful just to kind of get you closer to that 20 mark.
And to supplement, what did we get?
And we've got a booster pack.
What you got for us, Minnie?
You're going to be getting these exact same cards in this starter deck if you buy it, but the booster pack is going to be different. So hopefully if you buy this starter deck, you'll open a couple cards in your booster pack that are also Emerald or Amber, and you can kind of mix those into the deck and take out some of the cards that you find are less valuable or that don't synergize as well. So we're crossing our fingers here, maybe hoping to get a Robin Hood.
Otherwise, there'll be good additions to that.
You also have a potential of getting an enchanted card in this booster pack, so
come on, baby.
Good luck. So first off, we've got Mickey Mouse. This is Stalwart Explorer. We've got Billy Bones, Zazu, Lena Saberwing? Saberwing?
I think it's Saberwing. We got plenty of her.
Lena Saberwing.
I think that's the new DuckTales.
Got McDuck Manor.
Ooh, look at that.
9 willpower.
Strength, or is it? Yeah, willpower.
Yeah, 9 willpower. That's going to be hard for your opponent to get off of the canvas.
Yeah.
Got a Dalmatian Puppy.
There you go. That's one for the deck.
We've already got 5 of those in the deck, but you can have up to 99.
99.
Another Windy Darling. So if you like that better than one of the other cards you have in there, add an extra Windy Darling.
And that would make 4 set.
We've got a Prince John, Phony King.
Non-inkable, but...
Got the Sorcerer's Tower.
I don't know if we have that one yet.
Ooh, and then Pride Lands.
Oh,
we were
speaking of Pride
just talking
Lands.
about Pride Lands, but this isn't the one I was talking
Different
about.
Pride Lands.
They have 2 different types of Pride Lands. This one's Pride Lands, Pride Rock.
I think I have Jungle something.
This is Jungle Oasis.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
But this one's nice. If you have a Prince or King character here, you pay 1 less to play characters. So, you know, if you've got 2 of these in play and they both have a character on them, you're paying 2 less to play characters. So that can put a lot of characters in the field pretty quick. Ooh, all right.
Nice.
We've got another legendary. Got Maleficent here. This is Mistress of All Evil. She does cost 5. She is inkable for a 2/3, quest for 2. Whenever this character quests, you may draw a card. So she's got some passive card draw that can help you to fill your hand as long as your opponent can't take her out.
What do you call that? A draw engine?
I call it a draw engine. And she also has Divination. That's an ability that says during your turn, whenever you draw a card, you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So at the beginning of your turn, you're going to draw a card, and then when she quests, you're going to draw a card. You're going to be able to start shifting damage from your characters to your opponent's characters, and then help give you that advantage. And then last but not least, we've got a Cold Foil Dalmatian Puppy. So
perfect for the deck.
there we go. So I could be running 7 of these in this deck with this specific booster pack that we opened. So that's fun. All right. So that's everything that we got in our Lorcana Into the Inklands starter deck. Again, this is the Amber and Emerald one. So you're gonna
Ember Emerald.
Ember Emerald. So you will be getting the lore map. You're going to be getting the punch outs, including the damage counters, and then the lore slider here so that you can keep track of where you're at on your lore total. You will be getting a booklet for the quick start rules. So like I said, this is going to be a fabulous way for you to start the game and start playing immediately, and then you're going to get some fun cards in your booster deck. Wanted to thank you all so much for enjoying opening this up with us. Also wanted to let you know we've got Azurite Sea coming up. So
November 15th.
On November 15th, it should be available for most of your game stores, so go out and support your local game shop.
Mark your calendars.
Get yourself some new cards. We're going to be getting a booster box, so we're going to be opening up an entire booster box, hopefully the weekend that it opens up. So please come and join us for that. Well, last but not least, I just wanted to thank everybody for visiting Quainttown. Mrs. Quaint and myself really appreciate you. And if you are not already a townsfolk of Quainttown, please hit that subscribe button.
It's over there.
It's over here.
Somewhere. It's like it's right there.
Somewhere over here, yeah.
It's like
hit
right
that
there.
subscribe button right there. And we would love to have you as a member of our community. So as always, much love, happy questing, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.